The next use case of a while loop that we're going to be looking at is input validation. So if the user, you ask the user to enter some kind of value and that value is not correct, what we used to do before was just tell them, oh, it's bad, it's a bad value, and that's it. You know, tough luck, rerun the program. What we want to do now is give them a chance to fix their mistake. So let's start by asking the user to enter a number. So we're going to import our scanner. So import java.util.scanner. And like I said, if you start creating a project for every class and type these commands yourself each time, you will memorize them. This is the only way you'll memorize, by typing in a lot of code yourself. Okay, now if we want to ask the user for information, we need to create a scanner. So scanner k equal to new scanner system.in. Let's ask them for a grade. Enter a grade, for example. And what we want to do is we want to see if this grade is an A, B, or C. So let's do this code. If the grade is greater than or equal to 90, let's do char actually here instead. So char letter equal. Let's make it equal to an A. So we're going to assume it's an A. Now, if it's greater than or equal to 90, we already know it's an A. Oh, we never enter. Oh, we need to ask them for the grade we asked them. We never wrote it in. So let's do float grade equal to k dot next float, because it's a float. Now, if it's greater than 90, we know if it's an A. So we already assumed it's an A. So let's say if the grade is greater than or equal to 80. Well, let's go backwards. If the grade is less than or equal to 60 or less than 60, letter it's an F. If the grade is less than 70, it's a D. Else if grade is less than 80, C. Else if grade is less than 90, letter equal to B. And we don't need to do the else because we have an A here. Okay, so this code will run, but what if the user enters like a grade that is 0? Oh, we never printed anything. We should print the grade at the end. System.out.println letter. Actually, we should run it with a negative number. So here, if I run it with a negative number, it's going to tell me that it's enough because it's less than 60. But what if I don't want to allow a negative number? I want to say, no, it's not a valid grade. You need to give me a good grade. So what we would do here is we can say if the grade is less than 0, right? System.out.println invalid grade. We could also say if the grade is less than 0 or the grade is greater than 100. Okay. And then we would have all these be like else ifs. Now this, what it will do, it will give that grade. Oh, it's actually printing. We should not print in that case. But anyways, we'll fix that. That's okay. But here, it's not giving us a chance to fix our grade. So let's think, how can I use a while loop to do the checking? Well, we said a while loop has 3 parts. So kind of let's review. We said a while loop has 3 parts. It has a starting point, which is our initialization. We have a test that will eventually make us, we want to be stopping, we want to stop. So we're going to have a test and we want to have an update variable. So that variable we're initializing and we're testing on, we make sure we update. Okay, so here we're testing on the grade. The grade is what is going to control whether we, keep asking them or we say, okay, it's a good grade. We're not going to ask you again. So how do I get the first grade? Where am I getting the first grade from? I'm getting the first grade from the user. I'm asking the user to enter the grade and I'm reading in from the user. So this k.next float, this is actually our starting point. This is our initialization. This is where we are getting the first grade from. Okay, now when do I want to stop kind of telling them that it's invalid? I want to tell them that it's, I want to stop when it's a valid number. So as long as it's an invalid number, so instead of an if statement, I'm going to change this to a while. While the grade is invalid, I'm going to keep asking them to enter another one. Invalid grade, enter a grade between 0 and 100. So as long as the grade is bad, I will keep telling them that it's bad. Okay, now this is our, let's turn this back into an if statement. So this is our test. So we will stop when the grade becomes valid. So as long as the grade is invalid, as long as the grade is invalid, we will keep asking them to enter a good one. Okay, so this is a little tricky, I know, but basically if we have the error message, we're telling them that it's a bad number inside this while loop, then that means this while loop needs to run as long as this grade is invalid. So we want to make sure we write it in a way that if it's invalid, we tell them it's invalid. So now we have our start, we have our stopping. What's the update? I told them it's invalid. Where am I going to get the next grade from? I'm not going to be adding 1. I'm not subtracting 1. Who is going to decide what the next grade is? The user. The user is going to see this message and I'm asking them to enter a grade that is valid. So where am I going to get this grade from? I'm going to get it from the user. So my update is to get the grade from the user. And so the grade has to come from the user. So I have to go back to my scanner and say, get me the next float that the user typed in. So this is my update. My update is coming from the user. The user is the one that's going to decide what the next grade is. And so here, this code is inside the while loop. So as long as the grade is invalid, I'm going to tell them it's invalid and I'm going to read it in. Still invalid? Okay, read it in, and so on until they enter a good grade. So if they enter a good grade from the beginning, I immediately tell them what their letter grade is. However, if they enter a bad grade, it's invalid. 110, invalid. -8, invalid. And as long as they're entering invalid grades, it's going to keep prompting them because this test is not true, is not failing. It's true, it is invalid. But once I enter a valid grade between 0 and 100, immediately it gives me the grade. So this is how we can do input validation using a while loop.